If you have an S58 powered M2, M3, or M4, today is your lucky day because I'm gonna show you how to unlock serious horsepower. Now, when it comes to cars like Bill's G87 M2, they're not slow from the factory. In fact, Bill's M2 over here came with 476 horsepower, but by adding just a simple boot mode stage 1 tune with no hardware changes, we can bump this up on 93 octane alone to 575 horsepower, all with software. Now, say you want to add a boot mode flex fuel sensor and some E30 in the tank, you can take it to over 620 horsepower, with the only change hardware related being this little ethanol sensor. Well, Bill actually has sport cats on here, so he can do stage 2 to take these numbers even higher. And today, we're gonna show you exactly how to do that. We're gonna show you how to unlock your DME. We're gonna talk about the importance of that. We're gonna show you how to install a flex fuel sensor on your car. We're gonna show you everything you need to know about boot mode, from creating an account to activating a car to actually flashing your car. And then we're gonna take Bill's G87 M2 on a stage 2 E50 flex fuel tune out on the open road to tell you what we think. Now, while some of you may be skeptical because this might sound too good to be true, it's actually a very easy process. And in this video, I'm gonna walk you through and expose all of the secrets step by step so you can do this on your S58 power car as well. And I know sometimes videos are hard because you can't really ask live questions, but if you have any questions, just call or email my team and we'll be happy to help you out. We have all of our contact info down in the description below. Now, first things first, BMW locks your DME. This is the ECU that controls everything related to your fueling, your timing, basically everything that makes your engine go is controlled by this computer. That being said, while BMW does lock it down and they don't want you tampering because they don't want you to have extra fun with your car, we may know a couple people in the industry, and some of these we can unlock in-house, some partners we have overseas that can help us unlock it so you can maximize the potential of your car. Then while you're waiting for your DME to come back unlocked, it's a great time to install a flex fuel sensor from boot mode. What I love about what they've done is it's not just a device that tells you what the ethanol content is in your tank, it will actually auto calculate the tune. So that way, if you show up to a station and say they have 93, you could put 93 in it. Or even if you're on a stock fuel system, you can go up to about E30 on a stage 1 or E50 on a stage 2. You could put E10, E15, E20, E22. It doesn't matter. As long as you stay within those ranges, it's going to auto calculate the tune to maximize your power. After I show you how to install a flex fuel sensor, I'm going to show you how to set up a boot mode account, activate a car, and also tune the car. And then after that, we're gonna take it out on the open road and take it for a drive. So with that, let's get started by showing you how to remove your DME. Let's pop the hood, but we're not just gonna pop it regular, we're gonna pop it in style with our Kies quick release hood latch with a built-in 10mm and a scoop for that back battery tray, which I'm gonna show you in just a minute. This installs with ease. All you do, lift this up, take a pick tool and pry out this piece over there, then just take it, pop it on, and that will be the most satisfying click you'll ever feel. And like I said, it's quick release and it has a 10 mil. The first part of the process is to disconnect the negative terminal on the battery to make sure it's going to kill all power to the DME. Now, to disconnect the battery, we're going to be using our Kies quick release hood latch. Easily pops off, and it has this nice little scoop in here because BMW made this super tight to get into. So then once you're in here, we're going to use the 10 mil feature on here to disconnect the battery, and you can just pull this off and set it down to the side. Then it's a really good idea to take this trunk piece and just set it in the way so that if anybody accidentally tries to shut this, you're not going to get locked out of the trunk. What I also like to do is I like to reach in here and I like to pop the rear seats just as a precaution. Now that the battery is disconnected, we can resume our work under the hood. The DME is located right here under this cover. So the first thing we need to do is remove the 4 15mm nuts that hold on the straight portion of your strut brace. Next thing you need to do is take your fuel line, carefully press it over, and then you're going to lift up the back, and there's a clip on the front. You're going to rock it out. So lift up on the back, just like that. Now, while you're here, it's a really good idea to start by taking a picture of the DME wires. Try to get a couple different angles. The other thing we highly recommend doing is get a chalk marker. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then what I do, you can see I actually have some marks on here because I've taken this out before. I just put 1 dot on the first one. Then as I remove them, I do 2 dots, 3 dots, 4 dots, all the way back until that last one. I can't tell you how many times people don't do this and they miss the plugs, and it is very easy to switch a couple of these and then the car throws codes and it won't run. So take pictures, then mark everything with a chalk marker just to be sure. And once you're done, you can always just wipe those off because it's not paint. So to remove all these connections, what you want to do, you want to press down this little tab, and then there's a little lever system. You just pull it up just like that and simply remove it. So with this next one here, rock it down, pull it up, rock it down, pull it up. You can see I have all my marks are still nice and intact. Now, while you're doing this, you are going to notice that some of them will cross over, and these are going to need to be removed as well. So if you take a pick tool, all you need to do is lift up on the little gray tab. So you lift up on the gray tab and then you press on the tab and it's going to release the little clip. And again, we have these marked as well. Remove this one. Okay, and then our last one. Once you've done that, what you want to do, you want to push out on the plastic over here, and then you'll be able to slide the DME straight out, just like that. If you look down here, there are 2 clips. There's one right here, and there's one right here, and basically they're going to get stuck in this little groove. So as long as you separate it, you should be able to pull it straight out. Next, what you're going to do is put some painter's tape on the back, and this is where we're going to identify everything just so nothing gets lost at all. So some things you want to put on here are your order number, your name, address, phone number, email, and also your VIN. Then once you have everything properly labeled, make sure that you package this extremely well, and then you can ship it over to us at the address we provide you. Then from there, you can send your DME over to us, and some of these we're going to be able to unlock in New Jersey. Some of them we have to use a partner overseas. Either way, we'll get your DME unlocked and promptly back to you. Now, while the DME is out of the car, it is the perfect time, since you can't drive it, to install a boot mode ethanol sensor. So let's jump over to the car. I'll show you how to install the fuel line and also how to wire it up. First thing we're going to do, remove the engine cover. It's held on by 4 grommets, 1 in each corner. You got one over there, one over there, one over there, one over there. When you're doing this, grab as close to the grommet as possible, and that's going to minimize any damage to your engine cover. For this next part, you're going to need the included fuel line and also the ethanol sensor. One of the really cool things about the boot mode system is, as you can see, it has this extra channel, and that's going to make sure that the ethanol sensor is not a smaller bore and going to rob you of any flow, so you get absolute full flow with the boot mode system. So basically, here's what's gonna happen. If you look right here, this is the fuel line. It comes up over here, it goes down and around, and if you can see back there, that is the other end of it, and then there's a hard line. So what's going to happen, I'm gonna walk you through the whole thing. We're going to disconnect it down there. A little bit of fuel is probably going to come out. Now, one of the things that you can do to depressurize the system and also get as much fuel out of here as possible is you can remove your rear seat, and then under the passenger rear's butt, there is your low pressure fuel pump. If you disconnect the connection and then start your car and let it run until it dies, it will depressurize this line. We're gonna do a full pressure though, so you can see worst case scenario, but don't worry, it's not that bad. So basically what's going to happen is we're going to disconnect the line down there, and this line is going to connect on there. This is then going to connect on here, and then that side over there is going to connect on here, and then I'm going to show you how to wire it up. It's super easy to do. Being that that side is going to be very difficult for me to film exactly what to do, I'm going to show you up here because it's exactly the same. You can see how fuel sprays out and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to just basically put this back on and then do it for real down there. But this way you guys can get a full live view on exactly what to expect. So as you can see, I have some gloves on and I also have some microfiber towels handy. First thing you want to do, I'm going to do it up here, but you're going to be doing it down there, is you want to protect as much of this as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another microfiber towel to wrap around this. But before I get that one, let me show you what to do. So first, there is a locking ring. You take the locking ring and all you do is you literally just push it and it'll separate for you. And then put this in a safe place so you don't lose it. Next, what you're gonna do, you're going to compress the line. So you're gonna push it forward. Then you're going to take this black piece, you're going to push it up, and then you're going to very carefully, very slowly separate these. Again, you're gonna compress it, then you take this black fitting, and this is going to go up just like that, and I'm not gonna pull it because I don't have my other microfiber handy, and then you're going to very carefully separate it, do it very, very slow, and I'm gonna show you what 72-ish PSI of fuel shooting out of there looks like. All right, I got my second towel here, so push it in, compress it, and I'm just gonna wrap this around. Okay, again, super, super slow, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but it is leaking out. Just very slow. I still have it that far off, so it's still pretty far on. All right, so as far as how much fuel, that was really it. It was pretty uneventful without doing anything with the low pressure fuel pump. Now, make sure that you note, you still have fuel in here, so some of it is still going to leak out. Now, like I said, you need to be doing this down there, not up here. This is just for a little demo, so I'm going to put it back on. If you need to put one of these back on, all you need to do, slide it until it clicks. It's gonna lock into place. Take your locking ring and flip it on like this. Then what you can do is just wipe up any excess fuel that you spilled, and if you just give it a couple minutes, whatever you don't get will probably just evaporate. All right, so let me try to get this wire harness out of your way. So hopefully you can see this a little better than before. All right, so exact same thing. I'm gonna start by removing this little C-clip. I'm gonna be in your way just so it doesn't shoot into the engine bay. Okay, here you go. Then exact same thing, you're going to compress it, you're gonna pop this in, and then separate it. Now, because this is downhill, there is going to be a little fuel that's left in it, but again, it's not much. And at this point, I'm not pressurized at all. So as you can see, very minimal fuel was still in it. So then what you can do, take your factory fuel line, fully click it in, make sure it's nice and tight, and take that little gray ring, slide that on just like that, make sure everything is super tight. Then before you push it down, you're gonna get your wire. It looks like this. Nice little harness, clips in with ease. Okay, just like that, make sure you get a positive click. Then what's gonna happen is this is gonna go down this way. Then you're going to take the line that comes with the boot mode kit, clip it in, make sure it's nice and tight. And you're gonna loop this. Just push this down. You're gonna loop this and then hook that onto your factory fuel line, just like that. Make sure that everything is nice and snug. And we can take this wire and start to feed it across this way. I found it works best if you try to put it in here. Okay, we'll continue on the other side. Then once you get over here, you can move this hose out of the way, twist this 90 degrees. This is going to rock up and out. Then you can take this wire, just sneak it through here just like that. And then if you look at this grommet right here, this is where we're going to be going through the firewall. So simply just pull it out like that. Then what I typically do is cut an X on here and feed the wire through, and it's gonna go through this little foam right here. And then I'm gonna show you how to wire everything else up on the inside of the car. Okay, so just a small little X or something, just enough to get the wire through. You can just take your wire, pop it through, start to slide this down. Next, what you want to do is take a screwdriver and you're just going to pop it very carefully through this foam. All it is just a little piece of foam. Then you can take your wire and just feed it right through the foam. Now the area that we need to get to is behind this panel right here. So you're going to need to remove this underbody piece right here. You need to remove the side piece and then also the kick plate. So starting with this, there's a little clip over here and then another one on the other side. Works best if you have a flathead screwdriver. Just twist it 90 degrees and that'll fall down like that. And then same thing on the other side. Then you can just take this piece here, carefully pull it down, and then you'll see the one connection. So just go ahead and disconnect that and then remove it from over here. And then this piece will just slide out of the way. Then what you can do is just carefully lift up on this over here. Okay, just like that. Now when you do this, Typically what's going to happen are these clips are going to stick into the car. All you need to do is just pop these out with a pair of pliers and then you slide them back into the track. But I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Then you can take the side piece, and this piece is going to slide out sideways, just like that. Then what you can do is just take your carpet, just kind of roll it out of the way. And if you look, right over here is where our cable is that we fed through the firewall. Super easy to get to. Then what you're going to do, you need to remove this. If you take a pick tool, stick it right about there, you can slide this down. I'll rotate it to the side so you can see what I did. There's this little tab. You just press it back and then it'll slide right out. Then over here, you have one of these little plastic retaining clips. Just take that and just push it straight up. Then with these two, all you want to do is just carefully pull it up, and this should be enough slack for what we need to do. If you'd like, you can come in here and you can completely remove the entire thing. The first harness we need to work with is this white one right over here. So to remove it, what you do, you press in on here, you press in on here, and then you pull the lever down. So you just kind of squeeze those together and then rock that down just like that. Then you're going to need a pick tool. You're going to go in here just like this. And basically all you're doing is you're separating this little tab from this little groove right there. Okay, so you just slide that all the way out. Then you can take your boot mode harness and you want to look for where it says 18 at the bottom there. See that? And then this is going to slide in and clip into place just like that. All right, so now what you want to do is take the other end of the boot mode harness, and you can see over here it says 1 and over here it says 18. You want to take a look at the other harness, and this one says 18. So what you want to do is you want to line boot mode 1 up to factory 18 and very carefully line up these pins and just very carefully slide this in. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this out, and we need con 3, which is the second one over here. So from the bottom, it's the second one in. So just pull that out, and then you should have enough space to get it out. If not, if you remove the first one as well, you can sneak it behind it, and it gives you a lot more space. Now on this black harness here, we need the blue section, and you just need access to pin 1. So really, all you need to do is get it about this far out, so you don't have to go too crazy with it, and press in on this little clip right there, and then that's going to release your pin. Now on your boot mode harness, you have an extra pin over here. So what's going to happen is you're going to take this pin, you're going to have it in this orientation, slide it in, and it's going to lock into place. Then you can take this, clip it in just like that. You are golden. Then take the other side of this wire, and this is going to go into the pin that you just removed, just like that. Then just for safekeeping, I'm going to put a little bit of electrical tape over this. Then you can plug in your harnesses. This one goes back here, and this one goes right over here. Now when you're plugging these in, go slow. What you want to do is line them up, kind of wiggle them into place a little bit, and then use the lever to really latch them into place. So then you can take your wire and you can plug it into the board, and same thing with our ethanol sensor. You can plug this into the board, okay, just like that. And you can pop these through, and then you can take the top and you can clamp this on. Okay, and you can just lock that together just like that. And the last thing you need to do in here is just wrap up all these wires. I'm just going to hide it back here. It's going to be nice and out of the way. I'm just going to grab a couple zip ties, and then we'll reassemble this, and we are done in the car. Okay, so then you can reinstall all of this, and this piece goes over here. Now, if some of your clips got stuck, which is totally normal by the way, all you need to do is pop them out like this. Then reinsert any that fell out. Oh, that's neat. just make sure your trim is on top. Your weather stripping, I'll say. Okay, and then you can slide these in and get them pretty centered. Typically they'll only slide in one way if you haven't done this before. Okay, then you can line all these up and pop it down. That's good, that's good. All right, almost done. All right, then you can take this, plug your wire back in, clip this back on. There's a little hook in the back. You want to slide it up. Okay, get this all lined up. You can just lock these in place. There it goes. All right, and then from here, we're done. Okay, so then you can take your grommet, you can pop that back in, and if you like, what you can do, this is from Gorilla, not sponsored or anything. I like E6000 probably a little bit better, but if you get something like this, it'll basically dry like hot glue, but it will seal it up. So if any water drips down there or anything, you won't get any water in your car. So once you've done that, you can replace this panel. I'm gonna go back actually and zip tie this a little bit better because it keeps popping out and I want it to look as good as possible. So then really from here, everything's done in the car. Everything's done with the fuel line. All we really need to do now is wait for the DME to come back. We'll reinstall it and then show you how to flash it with boot mode. All right, today is the day. We just got our DME back from Femto. We have it unlocked and we are ready to install it. Now, while the DME was shipped out, I did make a change that I want to let you guys know about. One of the things I did is I actually flipped the boot mode sensor around. You can see I have their line here and I have the factory line over here. I just kind of felt like it looped better over here. So I just basically flipped the sensor. It works both ways. That's how I have that set up. So just wanted you guys to know if you saw it and said, wait a minute, that's not how you set it up 5 seconds ago. All right, so now it is time to plug everything back in. So first start by moving all the stuff out of the way. And you can take your DME. It goes back in the way you took it out. Just make sure you're not getting hung up on any wires. You don't want to accidentally pull on anything. Okay, should slide in with ease, just like that. And you can start to plug it in the reverse order. One of the things I like to do is I like to wiggle the plugs as I go in, and that makes sure that everything is going to go in nice and smooth. It is possible to bend pins, even if they weren't touched by anybody. So just be very careful and just go about it slow when you go to reinstall these. If there's any resistance, just stop. Double check everything is plugged in. And once you're good, you're now able to reconnect the negative terminal of your battery. Okay, tighten this back up. Good. Okay. All right, so once you've done that, you can reinstall your DME cover, your engine cover, and your strut brace. And then I'll meet you inside the car and I'll show you how to flash with boot mode. All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to walk you through how to set up a boot mode account, how to activate an activation key, and also how to use a Kies Wi-Fi Ethernet adapter. First thing you want to do is grab one of these and grab a license at kies.com. We have links for you down below. So what you're going to do with this is you're going to stick this into the OBD, and I have a second one just to show you. On the back, you're going to see the network ID is Kies, all caps, and then the Wi-Fi password is Kies1234, just with a capital K. So what we're going to do, then in your Wi-Fi settings, connect to the network that says Kies, all in caps. And then once this is connected here, what you're going to do is hit this little I to the right of it. And then down where it says configure IP, it's going to say automatic and it's going to give you an IP address. What you want to do is press and hold this and copy it. Flip it over to manual, paste your IP address, and then For the subnet mask, it's 255.255.255.0. Once you've done that, you can leave router blank and you're gonna hit save. From there, you need to download the boot mode app if you don't already have it. Now, once you've set up your Wi-Fi adapter like that, you're going to be able to connect to your phone through Wi-Fi, yet you're still gonna have cell service, so you still have access to the internet and everything's going to be green like this. So first thing you're going to do is hit start. If you don't already have an account, you're gonna go down here and sign up. And this is going to be a new setup for us. All right, then I'm checking my credentials here and I am good to go. After that, you're going to register the vehicle. When you purchase a license through us, we have an automated process where you'll get an email. You just skip through some of this stuff. And it is going to give you an email that looks like this. Simply take this, copy it, and paste it in. This is always the absolute best way to go because we have people mistype it all the time. So this is going to help avoid mistakes. And this is just going to take a couple seconds here and that's going to validate the car. All right, registration is complete. Once you buy a license, it's going to give you access to one OTS map. So you can see my maps over here. This is the stock tune on the car. You never have to worry about saving it because it does it automatically for you, which is super nice. Then from the OTS map screen, we're going to scroll down because he has Sport Cats. We're going to do 93 octane. And then I'm going to hit the little cloud to download this. Now the way that this works is your license includes one map. We do have a bundle available if you'd like to unlock everything, but that is sold separately. All right, after you've downloaded the map that you'd like, go back to My Maps if you haven't done this already, and hit the little download icon by your stock tune. Then select the map that you'd like to flash. Hit this button over here, and then hit flash. Hit this top button. Okay, we're just gonna hit flash. Now again, we already had the DME unlocked. Sometimes you'll get an alert. Even after you've done the DME unlock, sometimes it'll say, hey, you need to unlock. But as long as you've done the FEM2 unlock, you are good to go. All right, so as you can see here, this was super quick. It took 9 seconds to flash the DME. Back in the day, a lot of flashing programs would take 20, 30, 40 minutes or so. So quick, look at that. That's all we had to do. So then what you wanna do, just hit done, turn the car off for about 5 seconds or so. Then you can start the car. All right, starts right up. No check engine lights, no weird codes. Now when you're flashing, sometimes you will get all kinds of errors. Your dash may light up like Christmas. It is totally normal. Everything will clear out and you'll be good to go. Now to check your ethanol percentage and to make sure that your sensor is functioning correctly, what you wanna do, you wanna take the switch over here. It has 2 clicks. So it goes here and then it clicks past that. What you wanna do is just press it and hold it to that first click, and you'll notice that your tach will move. And what this is going to represent is this is going to represent the percentage of ethanol. So if it goes to 1, you have 10% ethanol in the tank. If it goes up to 8 or above, typically that's around E80 or E85. Now, with stock fueling, I wouldn't recommend going over E50, so just 50% ethanol. Remember that at the pump, it's typically 10 or 15%, so just keep that in mind as you're mixing. But this is super nice. And one of the things that I really love about the ethanol sensor being up there instead of back here, both options are good, but I prefer the in the engine bay because that is where the fuel is just about to your injectors. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of a false reading. It doesn't really last all that long because the fuel still has to travel all through your line. Again, there's not a tremendous amount of fuel in the line, but just something to note. So with that, let's go take it on the road and see how it feels. All right, so right now we're only at E10, so this is 93 octane. Oh my gosh. This thing feels so good, especially with the manual. I'm used to my automatic and that thing just like crazy fast, but it's such a different feeling. I think this is the first time I've ever driven boot mode on a manual car. I'm gonna buy one. If my memory serves correct, I believe this was around 575 horsepower. I'll have to double check the number and will correct me on the screen if not, but man, this feels so good. This would be such a good track car. But it's amazing that you can get this much power. You just feel yourself sucking back into the seat like the car is weightless. Such a good feeling. And I really miss driving a manual now, so I don't know, we'll have to get a manual again, I guess. The overall power delivery, everything, again, stock turbos, stock fuel system, it is such a great performance gainer, especially for the money. And the cool thing about the ethanol tunes is instead of having to go to the pump and reflash your car, it auto calculates the tune. So naturally, we should probably go back and put some E85 in and take it out again when the car's over 600 horsepower. All right, so we had an opportunity to drive the car around on 93, but the question is, what's it feel like with a little ethanol in the tank? So with pump fuel, we have about 10% ethanol in the tank right now. This is Ignite Red, this is 90% ethanol. So what we're gonna try to do is add some Ignite, try to get that ethanol level up. Now we currently have about 3/4 of a tank of 93, so we can only fit about a quarter tank, but let's see what we can get that E number up to. Again, with these cars, on the stage 2, you wanna stay under 50% ethanol, and then for stage 1, you wanna stay under 30% ethanol. All right, we were able to get 5 full gallons of Ignite Red, so hopefully that'll bump up our E level quite a bit. So with that, let's take it out on the road and see the difference. All right, so if you look over here, we now have a full tank because we added 5 gallons of ethanol. And if I hold my switch, you can see we're still only at E10, and that's because the fuel hasn't mixed in the tank yet. But as we start to drive down the street, you're gonna see it go up and up and up. All right, so we've driven now for, what, a half mile, and look, we're already approaching E45, which is awesome. That's why I love Ignite, because you get 90%. You get such a higher level of ethanol for max power. All right, let's test it out to see the difference. What traction? I guess I'm used to all-wheel drive. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. This is such a good power level right here. Now, after the fuel settled, it settled at like E38. Man, this is such a fun car though. I love the length of the gears. Like a lot of times on the DCT cars, it's like, whap, whap, it's like so quick. But with this, you have so much control and it's just such a good pull. I just love how it sucks you back into the seat. I mean, I have a 1,000 horsepower G80, but this car is, you know, driving it before and after, oh my gosh, night and day. When Bill bought this car, I drove it from the dealer to our recording studio and we did all these mods to it and whatnot. And he said, don't take it over 4,000. So the first time I drove this car was like underwhelming because it was like, I couldn't even get on it. But now, it's so fun. Now I know that this video isn't necessarily about the M2. There's something about a manual M2. M2s are meant to be manual. The G80, I'm gonna argue that one should be automatic, but this car, this was made to be manual. Man, I wish you could feel what it feels like to get pulled back in your seat with that boot mode tune. Like I said before, best bang for the buck and you will not regret it. It makes it feel like a whole new car, makes the car feel weightless, and well, that's why I tune every single car, and that's kind of why I only buy turbo cars, because there is nothing like it. And if you'd like to experience it, we have links for you down below to boot mode, the unlocks, ethanol sensors, and so much more for your car. And even if you don't have an M2, M3, M4, we have it for the 340, the 328, the 335, the X5, so many different makes and models. Get yours at the link below to kies.com. Thanks for watching today's video. We hope you liked it. If so, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe. Check us out in the next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.